Hi, my name is Joan and welcome to my first ever painting tutorial thanks to Chris. Okay, I'm gonna get into it. I'm just gonna go through some of the tools that I have. This is a wet palette, and what you do, they're simple to buy. You don't have to use this, but it helps keep the acrylic paint wet. And so you just wet a sponge. As you can see, I've used it quite a bit. And then a wet palette paper goes on top, and then put the paint on that, and then it keeps the paint nice and wet. I'm going to go through each of the colors that I'm going to use during your video, during the painting tutorial. I'm using Naphthol Light Red. I like to call it Cad Red Light, Titanium White, and this is Chroma paint. You can get any kind of paint anywhere you want. It doesn't matter what kind you use. Hansa Yellow Light, Mars Black. See that? Ultramarine blue, and then a quinacridone red, which is makes a very nice purple. I'm going to use some brushes. A 1 inch. It's got a nice sharp edge to it, and nice and wide. And then for the detail, I'm going to use a 1/4 inch round, and a 1/2 inch round, and a 1/4 inch round, something like that. Okay, it's good. Okay, so before I start painting, I just want to show you what I've done here. So I've chosen 8x10 canvas, and what I've done is I've taken a ruler and I found my horizon line, and I drew a straight line across. I was going to turn it this way, and then I thought, nah, like the landscape's going to be this way, but that's okay. So we don't have to worry about little mistakes we make, because it's artistic license, and you can just cover it with paint. So then I have some mountains here in the background. I'm going to have the sun here, and I just quickly drew them in, and they don't have to be exact. You can just do artistic license. Okay, so now let's get started. So I always wet my brush at halfway. I just want to get it damp. I don't want to get it soaked before I start mixing the paint. So I want to make the sun, so we're going to do the very background first, the farthest away. So I'm going to do the sunset first. We're going to make it a little bit orange. So I'm going to take this Hansa yellow and a little bit of red. And I want to make a really nice orange color. It's definitely not orange enough. Oh, I haven't used this paint for a while, so I don't know how it's not really working very well for me here, but that's okay. We'll just mix it in a little bit. And it should work a little bit better. There. It's getting a little bit orange. Now it's too red, so I want to make it I'm going to add quite a bit more yellow. So it's all, when you're mixing, it's just all trial and errors. It's what you like, what you want your painting to be. It doesn't have to be. You can use reference photos. I have lots of reference photos, but in the end, it can just be the colors that you want it to be. It doesn't have to be exact. So there, I'm going to add a little bit of titanium white to make it a little bit brighter. And we're going to be doing this in quite a few layers. And I can add, this is Mars Black. When I add that, just a tiny bit of it, I just desaturate the colors a little bit, so it's not too bright. I don't want it to be too vibrant in the end, but not the beginning layer. So I'm going to start in here. So this is where the sun is setting. Okay, so just brush in around the mountains. And it's okay if you go over your mountain lines, because we'll come back in with them later with a blue color, the night sky color. So I like that. So as you can see, the first layer, it's very transparent, and you can see some of the white canvas showing through, but we're going to be adding layers, so that's okay. So I'm going to come right across here, the lower part of the mountains. That's okay that I'm going over the pencil lines. Yeah. So I want to get a little bit more red, add a little bit of white. I'm just going to add it up here. So my brush is still wet, so it's making the paint I come into here and it's going to make the paint spread evenly, and it's going to let me blend into the yellow color. So I've got a nice gradient. I'm going to come up a little bit higher. And as you can see, we'll be adding lots of layers just to cover the canvas. Okay, I'm going to make it a little bit brighter down below, right where I first started. Just want it to be a little bit brighter. So I'm going to add a little bit more white, and I can compare from here to here how much lighter I am getting. Just add a little bit more in there, and it's not light enough, but I do like it for up here. Get a good peachy color. So now I'm going to put the palette down. I'm going to grab some ultramarine blue and then make some clouds. Give you some time to catch up. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of blue to this orange. So I've got to make sure I add quite a bit of red, because I don't want the blue and the yellow to turn green on me. It's a little bit too much red, so I don't want that purple. I'll desaturate it a little bit. Ooh, got a little bit too much Mars black. That's okay, because we can fix it. Add a little bit more yellow. I want to get it the orange, a really nice orangey color, but a burnt orange look for clouds. That's a little bit too much black in there, but that's okay. We're going to work on it and fix it. So I'll add a little bit more red. Go to this corner, and I'll brighten it a little bit. Add some more white. And it's a little bit too light. This is the fun part about painting and mixing your colors. You can keep playing with it to figure out what color you like. There, this is getting a little bit more the burnt orange look that I like, that I want for the clouds. I'll add a little bit more white, a little bit more yellow. I'll just try that. I'm going to switch brushes to a smaller brush for my clouds. And go to that really tiny 1/4 inch one. I'm just going to brush a little bit on here to see if I like it. And yeah, I like that color for distant clouds over the sun. Also, it's a good idea to stand back and have a look, because when you're concentrating on one spot and you focus on that, you kind of can't get a really good picture of what you're painting unless you take a step back and have a look. So I'm just going to do that. Yeah. Okay, so I do want those clouds a little bit darker. So let me just see if that first color I mixed right here is going to work better for me. And I'll step back and have a look. And I think I want a little bit more red. Add some more red to that, see what it looks like. Yeah, I think I like that. Let's try that one. Yeah, I like that better. These could be storm clouds, or they're just clouds that when the sun is setting, it reflects the color off the clouds, all the dirt. Okay, I'm going to pick up some more of that color. And if I go too much over, I can just let it dry, and I can go back in and cover it up. If I feel like I'm overdoing it on these clouds, add some a little bit higher. And again, I'm going to step back and have a look. Yeah, and it can look any way that you want it to for clouds. There's no, whatever you like. Clouds are all different sizes, shapes, colors. It's whatever you like. And I like lots of clouds up here. I'm going to wet my brush. You always keep your brush wet and go into your paint, like not dripping wet, just damp. It helps spread the paint easier. So I want this to be a little bit more yellow and lighter, so I'm going to go back to a 1/2 inch wide brush, give it half wet, get it wet, and brush off most of the water. I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to make up some more orange. I think what threw me off was this red color it was a little bit runny. Okay, I like that. I'm going to add some white. Hopefully you can see this and I don't lower my arms too much. Now
it's good.
Is it good? Okay, good. Alright, let's try that and see if we like it. Nope. I want it to be a little bit lighter. So I'm going to add some more titanium white. Let's try that. Yeah, I like that. Just in this part. And again, I'm going to step back and have a look. You can blend over the other clouds. I don't know if I like that or not. We'll see. Nope. Okay, I want that to be a little bit more yellow. I want it to be brighter, right where the sun is setting. So I'm not going to go all yellow, but pretty close. Let me see if I like that. It's a little bit better. It's getting there. Still not bright enough. So mixing the paint is the fun part. Don't be afraid to mix paint. If you make a mistake, just start a new pile or clean off your palette. This is the fun part about painting. Especially for me after a long day at work or I'm just bored. I get into mood and want to forget about everything. I can just start painting and then I'm lost in a world of creating. It's fun. It's my kind of fun. Okay, so I'm going to make it a little bit more orange. I'm going to leave that part to dry because I'm just mixing in this part. I'm just mixing in color, the same color, and so if I let it dry and go back in, then I can make it lighter. It's a little bit too wet, so add a little bit more red. I want it to be a pinky orange, reddish orange sky. Yeah. So I'm gonna, always remember to dip your brush into some water because it really helps spread the paint over the canvas. There we go. I'm gonna put this guy on fire, kind of. So you can see here, I don't know if you can see in the camera, if you can see the white of the canvas showing through. But that's just, we're just going to keep adding layers and that'll eventually all get covered up. I want to add some more red to the sky. And I'm going to lighten it with some titanium white. I do like when the sun sets, I do like the really bright spot where it goes down and then the really nice gradient and different hues that it casts on the sky, especially as it gets dark. It's kind of my favorite part. So there. I'm going to add a little bit of Mars Black because it's a little bit too vibrant. There, that kind of like that. Now I've got this pinky orangey rose, if that's such a color, going on. I like it. I'm gonna wet my brush, come back in here, pick up some more paint. I want to keep this nice and white. So you can see that line's disappearing. I've got more paint to put on, so it will disappear. And now it's time to step back because I've been working on this a little bit too close. And I think I want to add some more red to this bottom part here. Red and yellow. I want to make it a lot brighter, an orangey color. Kind of like that. Maybe a little bit of white, a little bit of Mars Black. Saturate it. Really, you can do anything that you want with the sky. You just got to play around with it and practice. I've done light skies. I've done very vibrant skies. Let's see what that looks like. It might be just the same color. No, it's really pinky. But that's okay. I can brush in a few lines here and there just to give it different colors. I do want to add more red. I'm looking for that earth tone orangey red color. Let's see. Oh, that's really pink. But it's okay. I don't mind this color. No, pink sky. Okay. I'm going to wash out my brush. I'm going to go back and get a smaller one and put in some more clouds. And I still want to make this a little bit brighter. And yeah, it's dry. Let's go back into here. I'm going to wet my brush, make it brighter. Oh yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And I will add more color after. Get my brush wet, pick up a little bit more color, and just come around these clouds here. Like that. And I'm going to step back. So I'm going to go back in here and add some clouds. I'm going to go back into this color with the yellow on my brush and pick up a little bit more red. I've got that burnt red look. A little bit of Mars Black. Let's just see what that looks like. Yeah, I like that color. I'm just going to make a little bit more. I feel like it's running out on me. And add a tiny bit of blue, see what that does. Yeah, it makes it a little bit darker for me. I like that. I'm going to wet my brush. Pick up some more paint. Okay, I'm going to get my glasses on here. There, see a little bit better. Okay, so I'm just going to come out. These are the mountains. So I'm just going to go into the mountains. It just helps me make it look like it's behind the mountains. You know, I'll go over it later. So I'm going to add a little bit more red to make it look like more of a purpley clouds. I'm going to change brushes because it's just a little bit too long for me. I want a little bit of a shorter bristle. Okay, pick up some more paint. Some clouds here. And you can put clouds all over the place here. Like the red look. Really, you can just put clouds wherever you want. Make long ones, short ones. A little bit more here. I do want them to be a little bit faint in here. Okay. Just going to clean my brushes. And I do have to step back and have another look. This, really don't like this right here, so I'm just going to come with my brush. It's a little bit down. I'm just going to come over and brush some of this. See if I can just brush it out. Brush this out a little bit. I'm going to let that dry. Got lots of colors going on. Don't want it to get too dirty in here. It looks a little bit muddy. I'll just come back with some more brighter color once this is dry. You can see I'm taking a little bit of paint off here, but that's okay. And it's too wet now, so I'm just taking more paint off. So I'm going to let that dry. And I'm going to go into here. We're going to make the night sky. So I just need some blue. We're going to make a nice purple color. So I'm going to use quinacridone red. It's a warm red. And I'm going to use a wider brush because we've got lots of canvas to cover at the top. So I'm going to get it wet, brush off most of the paint, and I'm going to make up this blue and quinacridone red color. It makes a really pretty purple. Add a little bit, it's pretty vibrant, so I'm going to add some Mars Black to it to desaturate. A little bit more blue. I don't want it too much lavender. I want it to be a little bit darker at the top, and then I'll do a gradient of lighter purple as we get down here closer. So I'll just try that out and see if I like that. Oh yeah, that's really dark. Okay, perfect. Pick up some more color. Yeah, that's a night sky color, that's for sure. Get some more color. You can see the purple in it. I'm gonna add some blue so we know what colors we're taking from, so it's really easy to mix up the same color. A little bit of Mars Black. And as you practice, you'll get used to it. you don't make enough color at the beginning, you can just go back in and make the same color, just like I did right there. It's not covering all the canvas, but that's okay. We're going to be doing this in layers anyway. So I want to add some more blue because I want it to get a little bit lighter as we go down. A little bit of quinacridone red. Tiny bit of Mars black. Now let's just see what that looks like. That's a little bit lighter. I'm just going to wet my brush and smooth it out. We're going to go right down into that orange. Okay, this is the color I did have. So I'm going to pick up some of this other red and the pinky red with some blue. And a little bit of Mars black to desaturate it. And come down into there. Now we're getting into that earth tone lavender color. It's going to look really nice with this orange. So we put that other red in it. And we've got a really rough line there, but that's okay because as we come down, we'll be making this color and it'll be a nice gradient. I need to get some more blue. And some more red. All right, so I'm going to go lighter again. So I want to get really close to those two, in between those two colors. So just pick up some ultramarine blue, this purpley quinacridone red, and some of this red. This is like an orangey red. Some Mars black. And I want to make it a little bit lighter, so I'm going to add a little bit of titanium white. And I've got this really nice orangey lavender color, purple color. Let's just see what that looks like. Oh yeah, I like that. This edge is nice and it's still wet, so it still blends in pretty nice into the dark color. Wet my brush a little bit. Wetting the brush helps keep the paint wet so that you can blend it. Okay, so now I want to make a little bit more of that orange color. So I'm going to add, I've got lots of blue in there, so I don't want to add too much yellow and turn it, make it go green. So we'll add the purpley red and this orange red. When it turns green on me, I know that I put in too much blue, but I can fix it. The paper's coming off. So let's see what that is. Ugh, no, I don't like that one. I'm going to wash my brush off. So I'm just going to come in and make some of this yellow, this orangey color that I made before for down here. I'm going to add some of this red so that it doesn't turn green when I add a little bit of blue. Let's see. Oh, it did turn green on me. I'll just add a little bit more of this red. And it should go back. There we go. Not green anymore. Add some white. Oh yeah. Now we got this dusty rose look. I like it. Get a little bit of water. And let's go into here. Oh yeah. There we go. There's like a dusk color. I don't think any one painting is ever exactly the same. So let's add a little bit more of this pink, pinky purpley red, earth tone red, a little bit of blue. Oops, probably a little bit too much. Let's see, maybe that's not too much. Tiny bit of Mars black. Yes. Oh yeah. I like a little bit of water. Make sure my brush is always wet. I do want that to be a little bit lighter, so add some more red. And let's just see what that looks like. A little bit more blue. I do want to make it lighter. I want to get back to this orange color. The paper is drying on me, that's why it's bending. But I'm going to mix right here so I can tell by just so I can see how dark that is compared to what I want to give it to. It's better. Now I'm going to make this lighter. Add some titanium white. It's really red, so I'm going to add some more yellow. It's getting there though. Maybe that's not too bad. I don't mind that, actually. Kind of transitions nice. I like that. Yeah, I like that. So there you go. You can try it, and if it works out good for you and you like it, then just leave it. Just remember, it does not have to be perfect. Take artistic license. So I do want to make it a little bit lighter there, so I'm going to add some more white. Desaturate it a little bit. Yeah. I don't know. I think that works. Just have to like it, that's all. I'm going to step back and have a look. I kind of like it. Why not? So I'm going to add some more yellow to this mix. I want to give a nice lighter orangey color to that. So I'll make a peachy color. Peachy pink. Is that what I'm looking for? No. Add a little bit more red. This is the earth tone red. Well, that color is good, but I think that would be trying to get it back to this orangey color. Need a little bit more red. And a little yellow. To that peachy color. Oh, it's really orange. So you just keep trying to get it to where you want it to be. I'm going to add some white to brighten it. I think I still need a little bit more yellow. I'm still trying to get this color here. A little bit more white. Let's just see. It's not there yet. Almost. just till a little bit too gray, so let's just brighten it up. Add some more yellow. I just might have to go clean my palette. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go clean the palette. Excuse me for a second. Yeah. Okay, we're back. So I got a new palette full of color to remix. I'm gonna try and get this orangey red color and blend it up into here while it's still wet. So always make sure my brush is damp, not dripping wet. I'm just gonna brush over here. Yes, it's still nice and wet. So I can mix some of that color again. I'm going to use the 1/2 inch brush. So I'm going to go in and make that orange color. I did it first, but it's going to be a reddy orange, more on the red side. Because I did want a sky on fire. And just a second, I'm going to get my glasses on. There. Now I can see. So I add a little bit more yellow, a lot more yellow, to get a really nice rich orange. And add a little bit of white to it. There we go. That's the orangey that I want. A little bit more white, just to get it off my brush. I got lots of paint mixed up. There, as you can see the difference here between the two oranges. And acrylic paint, when it dries, it does go 2 shades darker. It doesn't matter what they tell you. They tell you on the swatch that the color when it's wet. Always know to go 2 tones darker. So I'm just going to test it and see if that's the color I like. And that's the color I like. Some of this I don't want to. I think I like a little bit more orange. There, I like this mid color better. A little bit more red. I want to keep it orangey red sky. There, oh, I like that one. There we go. Okay, and we're just blending it up into this pink. I'm going to keep that orangey color. So I like it. So I'm just going to step back. I like that little light part there. It's a little bit of cloud. I'm going to step back and have a look. Yeah, I like it. I mean, I can play with this all night. I'm going to get a little bit more red and come down here and the spots I was at. There's a really bright, darkish orange. I'm going to go over a few spots here. There. Now I want to make this spot down here. I'm going to go in with a smaller brush and define these clouds again. So I'm going to use the 1/4 inch round, and I'm just going to bring in some Mars Black into this spot right here. Oops, a little bit, way too much. Oh man, well that's okay. A little bit red to it. There, now I got that sunset cloud color. Just want to come back in here and define some of these clouds. It's okay if they fade out where the brightest spot is, because that's the sun shining through. I'm just going to go over these clouds because you can still see the canvas. And you can make them a little bit poofy on top. Just have fun with clouds. You can make big billowing ones, wispy ones, short ones, fat ones, skinny ones, whatever you want. And I do like the reddish color of the clouds. Yeah. And for some of those clouds. cloud here. And just pick up more of that Mars black, a little bit of orange, and there. Add more clouds over on the far side. You can still see some of the canvas through here, but I'm going to make it lighter in here. So I'm going to add a little bit of white to this. Give the clouds a little bit of dimension, a little bit of red, make them a little bit darker underneath, and make them lighter at the top. Nice. Add a little bit Mars black, a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow. See if I like that for cloud color. Not so much. Just keep mixing the paint till you get the color that you like. Let's see if I like that one. Nope, I don't. I'm gonna add some more red. Black. Yeah. Clouds can have a little bit of blue in them to darken them up. There we go. They kind of are silhouetted, so you can make them dark at the top and like the dark rusty orangey red color at the bottom, and then a little bit of a silhouetted color at the top. That's too. Let's see if that's too dark. Not really. It's okay. I don't know that. Maybe just on the fore and front clouds, so they can be a little bit darker. The background, everything that goes down, that's in the background should be lighter, because that shows perspective and distance. And that's a little bit too much yellow in there. Add some more red. There we go. And that's a nice cloud color too. Yeah, so remember to step back. Oh, I don't like that one. I'm going to add some more red to this. Mix. A little bit of blue. A little bit different colors, more like a really dark purple. Yeah, I don't like that. I like that color too. I think I like that color better. So like I say, you can make your clouds jagged, all in one, tiny pieces breaking off, floating above it. You can make them flat on the bottom, puffy at the top. We could do a cloud study, and there's so many different variations of clouds that you can do. It's kind of fun. These ones I could just flatten out. Okay, I'm going to leave the clouds now. I'm trying to make this, just keep this really simple and easy to do for a first painting tutorial, especially if you're new to painting. I like detail, so I find it really hard to keep things really simple. I like to go back in and keep doing lots of detail. It's just the way I like to paint. So now I'm going to leave that for a while and let it dry before I make it lighter in here. I'll just take some paint off this brush I already have. Move over a few spots. And so now I'm going to do the mountain color. So just grab a clean brush, and I have it wet. It's quinacridone red and this blue, and I want to make a mountain color. So it's going to be a purpley color. So it is nighttime, so if you do look at the mountains, they are kind of silhouetted, and they are this, sometimes they are this, they're all different kinds of colors. I'll add a little bit of Mars Black. We do have some water here that I'm going to paint in. Water is always a little bit darker when it doesn't reflect the sky at night, but it shows the depth of how dark the water is, and it's always a little bit darker than the sky. So I want to have a sharp edge when I paint in the mountains. I want to have it a little bit darker. So I want the sharp edge to where the sun is, where the mountains meet the sunset. I want to have that as a sharp edge at the bottom of the horizon line. If I don't have a sharp edge there, I can come in and fix it later. So I'm going to add a little bit more Mars Black, so the mountains are a little bit too purple. And I can add a little bit more blue, a little bit more black. Kind of want to hug it close to me, but it's okay. Hopefully you can see this good. And now I'll try it out. Let's see. There, I like that color. So I'm going to just use the edge to come along here. And I have jagged edges, low areas, and high areas. And then I'm just going to fill this all in right to the bottom. That's where my horizon line comes in, where I can go straight across to make that line. And if it's not exactly even, I can come in later when I do the water, and then I can fix it there. Just come right across to the bright spot. It looks a little stormy in there. Pick up some more blue. Now if I run out, that's okay, because I can just, you know how to, what colors are going into the mix, you can just make some more. And I always, you want to lead your eye into the painting, so whenever you paint mountains, I never go down when I go out, I always come up, because when you're looking at it, your eye will automatically come in along the mountain lines. It's easier on the eyes, and you're kind of like directing people where to look by the shapes that you put into your painting. And I want your eye will lead to the brightest spot on the painting, and that's where I want everybody to look, is right at that sunset. So I've run out of color, so I just have to make some more. Take some blue, quinacridone red, makes a beautiful purple color. Add some Mars Black, just to desaturate it, and then just, yeah. That nice sharp color or edge. Pick up some more color, and then on here you can also flatten your brush and pick up some paint to keep that sharp edge. You just want to fill everything in. Mountains, you can make any shape that you want, pretty much. So some of the canvas is showing through here, so I'm just going to go over it again. Keep filling it in until you don't see those layers. Pick up some more paint. Small horizon line there. Okay, so I'm going to step back and have a look and see where I need to brighten up in the painting. I'll rinse my brush, get a clean one, and go back in with a bright color. Yeah. Oh, I like that. I like it. So here I want to make it very bright. So I'll come back in with a yellow, with a small brush. I do want it to be that nice bright yellow, a little bit of white. Let's just leave it like that and see how that looks. See if it brightens it up. I think it will. I'm just going to step back and have a look. Yeah, it's brightening it up pretty nice. I'm going to add a little bit more white. I want to be a little bit brighter here and have lots more paint. Oh, I'm going to wet my brush back into the paint. Come up here. It's okay if you go over some of these clouds. That's making it brighter. And you can use your finger to blend. Step back, have a look. I like that look because it's showing that it's almost setting. So I'm going to make it a little bit brighter right where the sun is shining. A little bit more white. And brighter still. It's not going to be completely white, but I just really want that to stick out right here. And so I might have to wait for it to dry so that the paint stays on it. There. Okay. I'm going to let it dry before I go back in here. Clean your brush off. Okay, now we're going to do the same reflection down in the water. I'm just going to step back and take a look. And yeah. Right. Okay. So I'm going to take this wide brush again, and I want to make this orangey color down here. And again, we're going to do it in layers just like we did up here. We're going to do down here. So I wet my brush, make sure it's damp, and I'm going to come in to make this orangey color. I have some of those colors mixed, but I need this color again. Oh. Get over, Joan. Alright, I'm going to add some more yellow. Make it brighter. I'm going to add a little bit more white to make it lighter. And I don't want it to be too intense on the water, so I'm going to add a little bit of Mars Black to desaturate it. Not too much. And I want a little bit more white. It's still a little bit dark. I think I added too much white, so go back in and add some yellow. And this is how it works. I'm not going to get it perfect every time. So this is the fun part about painting. It might feel like you're wasting paint, but really you're not. You're learning. And this paint does go a long way. Okay, now is that the color that I want down here? Let's just test it up here. Yeah, sure. That's a good color. I think it goes well. I'll step back and have a look. Okay. So I'm just going to come in here. So I'm going to reflect the sky. So I'll just come right across here. So I go too far up into the mountain, I can come back in with that color. Just going to get a little bit more paint off the edge. A little bit of water. It's on here, and then okay, so I'm putting this on pretty thick. And what I want to try is I'm going to take this color here that I already have mixed up to add some of the reflection, and then go into this blue color. Let's just see if that's going to work for me. Oh, no. Just trying to make this real simple. Add a little bit of white. Let's just see what that looks like. Just saturate it. I don't mind that. I got a little bit too much water on here, so it's just, there's not enough paint to cover the canvas. Okay, so I'm going to make, I'm just going to get more of this color here. I'm just going to go down here. I want to make sure that this stays wet for when we go into that blue. Come up with blue. I want this to be wet. I'm going to add some of these cloud colors, so we'll make a little bit. I'm going to add some of that color with this red, because we do have a little bit of a lavender color reflecting in the water. A little bit of that Mars black. A little bit more. Oh yeah, there. So I'm not going to reflect all of the sky, but some of it. I want a little bit more of that dark color. A little bit more Mars black. And we will reflect the mountains too. Blue. There we go. There's that dark color. So I'm just going to reflect these clouds. Oops, I touched it. A little bit here. It's not going to look exact, but that's okay. And water, you do want to go horizontal. Keep your brush strokes horizontal, not vertical, to make it, because water is flat. Is flat no matter where it is, except for a waterfall. I'm going to add a little bit of white to this mix. See what that does. I want to get a little bit of this color to make that lavender purpley color, a little bit of blue, tiny bit. I'm trying to make this color here. That looks about right to me. Yeah, there we go. It's like dusty rose, but it's mixing in with the other color. So I'm going to go in and make this blue while that's sitting there wet. So it's kind of like the same color as the mountains. It is a little bit darker. But I do want to come up into this orange. I don't want it to be too dark. So a tiny bit of black. A little bit more blue. Let's just see what that looks like. Yeah, that's okay. I don't mind that color. My brush is wet. Make sure it's a little bit wet. If it's too wet, it takes, you can see right through to the canvas. It doesn't put on enough paint. And I might say things 2 or 3 times over and over, but the more we tend to forget. So the more I repeat it, the more you're going to remember. I'm going to go right up into that orange. I'm going to add a little bit of black, add a little bit of white. Got that nice lavender look. Let's see what that looks like. And I'm going to add some more white. Oh, that's a lot of white. It's a nice purple color, but it's not the color I want. Add a little bit more of this red. Do you want to get into this color here? So let's add a little bit of yellow. Don't want it to turn green. Add a little bit of this red. There we go. Let's get in there. A little bit of white. Make it the orangey color. It's getting there. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah, I like that. Coming down into it. Covers the canvas well. And then I don't have a hard line here. It's a nice smooth transition because it's still wet. Kind of looks like a glowing lake. I like that look. So I'm just going over this part here because I want it to cover the canvas. But I do like that look. I like it. Okay, so I'm going to take the flat end of my brush. Actually, I'm going to get a bigger brush, a wider one. So this is a clean one. It's 1/2 inch. Or no, it's 1 inch brush. And I want to go into this color. So what I want to do is I want to make it look like there's waves or reflection in here a little bit more for these clouds. I'm just going to put in a short one, this long one. It's not going to reflect the exact same, but because it's not right above it, but I can make it look a little bit like it. And then this one here. Got some more color. Kind of looks like waves. I want a little bit more of this orange color. I'm going to add a little bit more blue. A little bit more red, a little bit more of this, and go back in here. I want to be a little bit more, yeah. So it kind of looks like waves or reflection. I will reflect a little bit of the mountains here. And then we'll put in, when this is dry, we're going to put in the reflection of the sunset. I'm going to just test it up here, see if it's the same color. Well, it's not. So I could put this color up here at the bottom, or at the top. And just to make all these colors cohesive, so they all go together. And it does make them stand out. I like to fiddle around, as you can see. Okay, I'm just going to step back and have a look. See if I like that. Oh, I like it. Love it. All right, I really like this little light spot there. So now when this is dry, I'm going to add in the reflection. So I'm just going to make sure that this is still wet. Okay, good. All right. Okay, so nice gradient. I do want to have the reflection of the mountains in there, just a little bit. So while this is drying, I'm just going to put a little bit of the mountain reflection in, not too much. I'm probably going to use the same color. Just put a little bit in. I just want to sharpen up that edge too. So let's make this color again. The blue. This is definitely a sky on fire. Let's see. Just make sure it's the same color. No, I need to make it a little bit darker. More blue. Okay, test it out. Yeah, that's dark enough. Okay, this is where I kind of need a steady hand. Step back, make sure it's straight. That's pretty good. Just going to pick up a little bit more paint and make the edge sharp and pick up paint on the edge. There we go. Okay, so now that this is dry, I'm going to come in here and make this a little bit brighter and the reflection on the water. All right, so we're going to mix up some titanium white. Yellow down here. Let me get some, always got to remember to get my brush wet. There. A little bit more titanium white and yellow. I'll make that really bright. Now that it's dry, so the dark mountain really helps to make it really stand out, the brightness. So I'm going to come down with a yellowish orange. I want it to be a little bit deeper in color because it's going to reflect onto this water. It's going to be a little bit more orangey. So I'm going to make that orange, almost that orange color, a little bit lighter though. It's going to be a little bit lighter, yeah. Add a little bit of white. Okay, so I'm going to come straight down. So we're going to add a couple layers to this. Straight down. And it's just going to spread out. A little bit wider here. It's going to spread out. Okay. Just widening it. So I want to make it a little bit more orange. A little bit more orange. Now it's a little bit too red. A bit of yellow. Just about, yeah, like that. just going to spread this out to the water. I want to make it lighter. Add some white. It's just going to blend in really nice. We'll keep adding some layers to this of light color. Get my brush wet. Now I want to add some more white here, and a little bit. I'm going to add it right to this yellow here. White. Make it brighter. A little bit of orange in it. Right to the center. And I'm going to get some of this paint off my brush. I'm going to go to a smaller one. Get it wet. Just make it down. A tiny one, and it's clean. Pick up some of this. Nope, it wasn't clean. That's okay. We'll clean it. And go to a new spot. That's what happens. At least I didn't dip it into my coffee or my water. Done that before. All right. So this one needs to be really bright. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow to this. That's brighter. I need to just step back for a minute. Make sure it's in the right spot. I'm just going to shorten, pick up some more color, get my brush sure it's damp. Oh, there's some of that color again. Just widen this out a little bit. Just giving it some distance. Whoops. This is where you don't want to be shaky. So you can, if this is dry, you can use your finger to stabilize your hand so you're not too shaky. There. That's what I should have done. And there. I just want to make the center the brightest. It's not completely white. It's a little bit of yellow in there. Get a little bit more yellow. There. And now it's a little bit too wet, so I just kind of have to give it a few minutes to dry. I want to fix that now. Okay, so I stepped back and had a good look, and I want this a little bit of yellow shining up there from the sun setting. I just feel like I need to bring this out a little bit more, so I'm going to. And that's okay. I just want to make it wider. And it's reflecting off of waves to do that. Yeah. You can use your finger to blend if it hasn't dried. Okay. So I'll step back again and have a look. Oops. Like that. And I'm just going to do it a little bit more on this side. Yeah, why not? And it just kind of fades out, and those just look like little waves. Here. Now I'm going to go in and get a little bit of that orange. Clean off my brush. Pick up some of this orange color. I'm just going to fix this here. Just sweep back and forth. Whoops. It's actually okay because it's just a reflection. Sometimes your mistakes are a good mistake. Play around with it. I'll step back and have another look. Okay, so I think I've done enough on that part. I just want to make it a little bit darker in here, a little bit lighter. I'm just going to play with it and add a little bit more layers of color. I like this dark part here. So I'm going to add a little bit more here. And like I said, if you feel like you have too much, you can just go in and make a wave or go over it. Just have fun with it. Making mistakes is how you learn how to do all this stuff. It's not really a mistake, it's just discovery. Just got to be nice to yourself and stay positive, and realize that there's always an ugly stage to your painting. And then also know when to finish. Keep it simple. So I did go over a little bit of that light spot, so I'm just going to clean my brush and go back in and just re-brighten up that spot. It's all nice and white, wet, so right now. Add a little bit more white. Make it even brighter. Go. It is a little bit yellow. Alright. Yellow. I'm gonna add a little bit of yellow here. A little bit more. Oops. I think that's good. I'll step back before I do too much. Yeah, I like it. And this just looks like the swirling water that's taking the sun with it. So there's a little spot on the mountain I want to fix. I'm just going to go in with this dark color. It's still wet. And the tiny brush. I'm just going to come in, fix it here. There we go. And just at the edge. Step back. And I love it. Okay, let's put in the mountain reflection because I haven't done that yet. And just to make it a little bit more complete. So So let's go back in. I'm going to pick up this quinacridone red, a little bit of blue, and a little bit of black to desaturate it. I want to add some white to make it a little bit lighter. Oops, and that's good though, because now I can see it's a little bit too much purple, so I'll add some blue. Yeah. And I'll just test it out and see if I think I'll add a little bit more color because I want to make sure I have enough paint this time. Add some more red. A little bit of black. Reflections are darker, as dark as the mountain. A little bit of white. Ah, yeah. That's the color I want. Okay. All right, so let's do a little bit of a reflection of this mountain here. So you can use this 1.5 inch brush, and it's at a nice fine point. You can just dab it on here, and what it'll do is it makes it look like the water is moving, and at the same time show the sunset reflection, and then you can show these kind of like waves, but the darkness is the reflection of the mountain. So we'll go up a little bit higher. So we're going to try to make the same shape. Not exactly, but we'll make it thick here, and then we'll go thinner. But we always want to keep this brush horizontal. If it goes a little bit curvy, that just means it's rougher water. Keep your brush wet. So I'll go right up to here, I think. I'm going to come over. I'm going to wet the brush just a tiny bit, scrape off the water, make sure I have a nice sharp edge, and then just go along here. Just dab it really lightly. If you want a thicker line, you can press harder, but if you just dab it really light and you keep going horizontal, this water lays flat, it'll just look like rough water. The closer you get, you can press a little bit harder to make the waves look a little bit bigger, and yeah, you can stretch them out with your brush. So I'll make this a little bit higher here, just to make it look like it's this mountain height. I mean, I could go all the way down if I want to, but I like this look. I'll go down here, a little bit higher here. And then sunspot, sure. Keep your brush at 90 degrees and just lightly go across. But it's nice to have that texture on there for waves. Right across. If I go too thick here, I can always come in and some orange to fix that up. Make sure I'm going to step back to make sure I'm not doing too much and that I'm doing enough. So hang on. Yeah, I like that. Okay, that's working. So we'll do the same here on this side. And then always do the opposite. So we'll come up a little bit. That's a little bit too much. That's good. And step back and have a look. It's not going to be exact, but that's okay. We're not looking for the exact same reflection. Step back again. Okay. Pick up some more paint on your brush. By all means, you can make this solid. You can leave a little bit of an edge or go right up to the mountain. I like that. this shows it's not another mountain. Yeah. And I'll come a little bit higher to match that side. As best as I can. It looks like reflection. And step back. A little bit more here. Come out a little bit more. There. There. Reflection is in ripples of the water. Yeah. And if I want to, I can too. I can add a little bit more of these cloud reflections. That would probably be pretty good. They don't have to match, but to show that they're there, that's probably a good thing. Kind of gives you an idea. I don't want it to be too prominent. But it kind of gives life to the water too. So I've got this really long one. I go in between the sun shining to deepen the wave. Because in waves, the lowest part is the darkest part. And on this side, I could just make this bottom a little bit darker. It's longer. There, that's good.